Okay, I'm going to do your test review really quickly so you can check it tonight, hopefully, and just have questions for tomorrow. Hopefully I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, and hopefully it's going to be easy. Okay, so we're looking for the ranges, y. So we're looking for the y values. So I'm going to start at -3. Remember the range, we start from the bottom and go to the top. So it's going to be -3 less than or equal to y less than or equal to infinity because it has the arrows that go on forever. So I think I kind of told y'all, if we have a number, we don't need this infinity, and y is bigger than -3 because all these values up here are greater than -3. So we have y greater than or equal to -3. I took this, turned it around. That's going to be answer choice H. Okay, number 2. We were just talking about this in our teacher's meeting, that when students have a graph, they sometimes forget to read the question. So here's the question. We're looking for domain. Domain is X. So we're looking down here at the domain. So we have X, not F or G, is between 0 and 12, which makes H our answer. Okay, number 3. We're putting a value in for f at 3. Remember, this is x, so x equals 3. So every place we have an x, we're putting in the number 3. So we have f at 3 equals 3 squared minus 5 times 3 divided by 3 minus 1. So we have 9 minus 15 over 2 is -6 over 2, which is -3. So when you fill in your grid, don't forget to do your negative, and then you can put your 3 up here at the front. I don't know why it's doing that, or at the back. Either way works. You can put it here. Just make sure you bubble in the 3. Okay. For number 11, we know we have a geometric sequence, which means we're going to have exponents. Here's a at 1. For geometric, we have a sub n equals a1 times r to the n minus 1. So a1 is 3. We need to find out what we're counting up by, what we're multiplying by. It looks like we're multiplying by 2. So r is 2. So we have a sub n equals 3 times 2 to the n minus 1. Since we're doing 11, we have a at 11 equals 3 times 2 11 minus 1, which is 10. When you multiply 2 to the 10th power and then multiply by 3, you have 3072. So you can bubble in your positive. You don't have to. You can put your 3072 at either side. I'm going to do this side just so you can see. I don't know why it doesn't like it when I do this, but there you go. 3072. All right, number 5. Never occurred to me that you guys with Mr. Conness would be worried about these numbers being sideways. I took a graph and I flipped it over, totally not thinking about that. But if you turn it sideways, you probably noticed that it was a function. And if you turn it sideways, it's not a function. So this one's not a function. All the rest of these are functions. Up and down makes a function. Sideways, no function. Because of the vertical line test. Okay. Okay, number 6. I like these problems that have formulas because I pretty much don't have to read anything. They already gave me the equation. So I'm looking for total charges. I know that's my C. 100 minutes, that's my M. So I have C at 100 equals 20 plus 0.07 times 100. And I know you guys remember that if you have 0.07, multiplying by 100 is the same as moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So I have 20 plus 7, which is 27. If you pick C, give yourself a big frowny face. Boo. Okay, number 7. We do not know what kind of sequence this is because it doesn't tell us. So I'm not sure which formula I'm going to use yet. But I do notice that these numbers are going up, I don't know what that is, plus 1. And these numbers are going up plus 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 plus 4 is 17. So A at 1 equals 5. D equals 4. Oh, I see what they did. Okay, so our formula that we were using would be a sub n equals 5 plus 4 to the n minus 1. Since they have n instead of n minus 1, I do know that it's not d. They have n's and not n plus 1. So let's work this out and go ahead and simplify it. So if I have a to the n equals 5 plus 4 times n minus 1, then I'm going to do 5 plus, I'm going to distribute 4n minus 4. So let's simplify my 5 minus 4, and I end up with a sub n equals 1 plus 4n. So my answer choice is C. They simplified. We've been working out the problems like this. This is simplified, which is the only difference. But when your answer choices don't look like what we normally get, think about how you can change it to match up with what your answer choices are. The other thing you could have done is put in the positions for n and see which one gave you the correct values coming out. I'll demonstrate that in class if you want me to. Okay, number 8. We're looking for range. Range is y. We have gallons, and we have a rule. I love that. And I have distance. So distance is going to be y. X is going to be g. And the way I would do this is I'm just going to put gallons over here and distance over here. Because when I'm thinking about my domain, I can have 0 gallons of gas, or I can have 20 gallons of gas. That's the least and the most I can have. If I put 0 into my equation, I have 30 times 0, which is 0, and I have 30 times 20, which is 600. So my range is going to be 0 less than or equal to the distance less than or equal to 600. And if you put y instead of d, that's totally fine. Just so long as you have 0 and 600 and you see where they came from the formula. Okay, number 9, geometric, which means I have a sub n equals a1 times r to the n minus 1. So the first term is 128, and the common ratio is 0.5. I'm looking for the 10th term. So I do a sub 10 equals 128 times 0.5 to the 10 minus 1, which is 9. I'm going to work that out on my calculator really fast because I don't have that one. I have 128 times 0.5 to the 9th power, and I get 0.25. So my answer is 0.25. Number 10. You are going to have to explain this to me, and I am going to give y'all extra points on your test for having good explanations. There's a couple different reasons why this graph is not a function. It's not a function. You can at least get that part. Okay, there's a couple different things. We do the vertical line test, and we can see that there's places where it crosses the axis, it crosses the vertical line more than once. You could say something about the x values repeating, because you can tell that there's more than one x value or more than one y value for a given x. So you explain in good sentences, and I will give you extra points on your test. Number 11. Remember again that this means x equals 2, not y. So go over to our graph at 2, go up to the line, go over. So f at 2 equals 4. Pretty easy. Okay, number 12. Again, one of these things, I'm going to give you all points. If you could tell me the difference between if it's a function for a graph or a table, and really you can just start with not a function. Just tell me if it's not a function, it has blah, blah, blah. And you tell me what happens. Okay, 12. Come on, think about it. Y'all can do that. Okay, which of the following? Oh, we talked about this one too. This is supposed to be not a function, because I'm sure you all figured out this one. C, start with C because it's right here. 6, 5, 3, 2 is a function. If you look at all these lines, they're all separate, so that's a function. This one is a function because you have 2, 4, 3, 8, 4, 8, and 5, 5. My x's don't repeat. And D, I have the repeating 20s. So D should be my answer because it's not a function. And that was written wrong. Y'all get to get all my mistakes. Okay, number 14. I'm looking for an arithmetic sequence, which means a(n) equals a1 plus d to the n minus 1. Okay, so you have to do a couple things. We're going to put in a sub 10 and d, and we're going to work backwards to find a1. So if I have -8, because that's a10, equals a1 minus 2 times n minus 1, and n is 10, so it's 10 minus 1. -8 equals a1 minus 10 minus 1 is 9, times 2 makes 18. I'm going to add 18 to both sides, and I end up with a1 equals 10. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my equation, and I'm going to say a sub n equals 10 plus, oops, not plus, minus 2 times n minus 1. Okay, now I want to know for a6, and so I'm going to put in my a sub 6, 10 minus 2 times, since n is 6, we're going to have n minus 1, which is 5. I end up with 10 minus 2 times 5 is 10, and a sub 6 is going to be 0. D is your answer. Okay, and then number 15, I want you to talk about arithmetic sequences and geometric sequences. Use all these words to write me 2 little paragraphs, which can be a couple sentences each. And let me say it one more time, bonus points for completing this and bringing it to class tomorrow. So I hope you're ready for your test. Bring your questions, and I will see you tomorrow.